What are the common mistakes that Australian employer makes when it comes to the employer sponsorship visa? Let's dive into that further and let's just try to note it out. What will be the way to avoid those mistakes by the employer? Hi, my name is Nish from Professional Visa and Education Services, immigration lawyer. Now, the common mistake the employer usually make when it comes to employer sponsorship visa is not knowing their employer obligations, because it is also the immigration lawyers or the agents' responsibilities to inform the employer. Generally, employers are really busy doing their own job, doing their own business, and that's a very natural process. When it comes to the visa matter, a lot of employers seems to be unaware about their particular obligations, and which sometimes leads to monitoring by the Department of Home Affairs and finding them that they're not complying with the employer sponsorship obligations. So therefore, this video is for employer to understand some of the common mistakes that a lot of people are doing when it comes to employer sponsorship visa, and also applicants can make their employer aware about certain things. Now, the first thing first, the employer stipulating that they need to pay the Tismet salary, but when it comes to the reality, some of the employers are not following these obligations. It is very crucial that all migrants who are under the employer sponsorship schemes are paid under Tismet salary, but not just that, they also do the regular appraisals and performance review. That's the first mistake employer does. Now, the second one is when the employer change the location of these particular employees to their another business. Now, by law, you can do that if that other business is also trading under the same entity. You can change the location and the nature of the business, and obviously the nominated occupation has to be in the same field. But they can change the employee from one location to another location. But the most important component the employer has to do is informing Department of Home Affairs about this change. That's number two. Number three is when the employer changed their main office addresses. Now, this is the key component the employer has to understand, that when you guys change your business address where the regular information communicated by the department and you change your operating location, it is your obligation to inform Department of Home Affairs immediately by giving them the updated address and letting them know that your operating address has changed. So that's another thing. Now, the fourth one is market salary review. Now, it is very important all migrants under the employer sponsorship schemes are paid as per the market salary review. Now, what is this? Well, obviously, if you have a cafe restaurant manager, cook, chefs, or engineers, anyone working in that particular occupations, you have to look at the tenure and the experience of this particular individual. And as an employer, it is your obligation to go out into some recruitment websites, various recruitment websites, and try to compare their experience and their skill set with whatever the salary is being offered in the market through this recruitment platform. So once you know there is an average pay scales and there is an average expected market salary to be paid to your employees, then of course it is your obligation to ensure that market salary rate is fulfilled as an employer. Now, the other one is working hours. So there has been subtle, subconscious sort of exploitation when it comes to the hours. Now, employer has to ensure that the migrants, and especially people under 482 and 186, are not exploited in terms of their hours. Like we have had enormous amount of applicants coming to our office every day saying, my contract says 40 hours every week, but I actually ended up doing 45 hours and I don't really get paid for that 5 hours. It's very important that employment law is always practiced properly in accordance to the Fair Work guidelines, and the employer sponsorship scheme doesn't change that Fair Work guidelines. So the employer should ensure that the people are getting the right salary. Now, the last one I wanted to say is the occupation. A lot of employer makes a huge mistake when it comes to the occupation. For example, if the person is sponsored under program or project administrator, or they've been sponsored under marketing specialist, but once the sponsorship is conducted and the visa is granted, sometimes the employer seems to be shifting that particular occupation from marketing specialist to a project manager, or various other occupation. Now, as an employer, we have to ensure that your employees under the 482 or 186 scheme or a sponsorship visa scheme, they don't work outside of their nominated occupation. Now, if you have that situation where you have to put your employees into different position, which is completely different to what they're doing at the moment in terms of your nominated occupation, you have to lodge a new nomination. So hopefully all this stuff is relevant to you as an employer and relevant to you as an applicant. And hopefully this video will help you understand employer's obligation, as well as it is also an employee duties to inform the employer about what are the obligation. It is a huge awareness piece that we all need to work together, because as you can imagine, employers are really busy doing their day-to-day job and sustaining the business. Employer sponsorship visa is good avenue for the employer to retain and acquire skilled migrants, but at the same time, it's important for employer to understand the employee's obligations when it comes to employer sponsorship visa. Thanks for watching. This is Nish from Professional Visa and Education Services.